Hello everyone, welcome to a Raid Shadow Legends video. Today's video we're going to be looking at the question, is it better to pull sacred shards during a bonus legendary event or a 2x event? So we're going to use a little bit of maths and we're going to use a little bit of graphics. I've had previous attempts to produce a video, but I've been staring at spreadsheets and I don't think that makes for a very exciting video. So we'll use colored circles. So this represents a normal 1x or a bonus legendary event. Basically, the purple represents your chance of getting an epic and the gold represents your chance of getting a legendary. During a 2x event, it looks like this: 12% chance of a legendary, 88% chance of an epic. And if we compare them, it looks like you really want to be waiting for the 2x events. But it's never going to be that simple. But anyway, let's have a look at some factors we need to look at, because if you pull during the 2x event, there are 111 champions, and there is the equal chance of you pulling champion from the list on the left as the list on the right. In that, so you've got a 12% chance, and then the second question you have to answer is it an epic that you want? And I think this is the thing that's missing for a little bit from the arguments that I see out there on the internet. Sure, you pull a Lego, that's great, but if you pull Noble or Pixniel, are you really better off? Because basically when you pull them, they don't help your account, they reset your mercy counter. So you really want to be trying to maximize your chance of pulling something that you want. But anyway, let's just have a look at some numbers. So if you pull a legendary, if there are 14 undesirable, that out of 111, that's 12.6% of the legendaries, and it's the same with 14 of the desirable on the right. So you can see that means that if you pull your legendary at 12%, you have another 12.6% chance of getting something that you really want, if those 14 are all that you want. Let's just make that supposition. We'll run through some other scenarios shortly. So what that essentially boils down to is chance of getting a legendary from the list on the left per sacred shard pull is 1.5%, and your chance of getting a legendary on the right during a 2x event is a 1.5% chance. Let's have a look at that during a bonus legendary or a non-2x event. So essentially, let's start with the non-2x event. So 6% chance of a legendary, exactly the same chance of it being from those lists if a legendary is pulled. So the 6% chance of drawing from one of 111 legendaries. So 12.6% of 6% for a good or a really bad. Which means that you've got a 0.76% chance every time you pop a shard outside a 2x event, you've got a 0.76% chance of getting a legendary from that list on the right. And the good news is you've only got a 7.6% chance of pulling a legendary from that list on the left, unless one of those is one that you desire. Okay, so let's compare that. That seems to make sense, right? There might be a little bit of rounding errors going on there. But anyway, essentially double the chance because you've got a 2x event compared with a 1x. Right. Let's have a look at the effect of the bonus legendary event. So you only have a 6% chance of pulling a legendary, but if you pull that legendary, essentially you have a 100% chance of pulling an extra legendary, if that makes sense. So during a 2x event, there's a 12% chance of pulling a legendary, 12.6% chance of being something wonderful. That's your lot, right? But during a bonus event, you've got a 6% chance of getting a legendary, so a lesser chance of getting a legendary. But if you pull a legendary, you actually pull two, and both of them have that 12.6% chance of having a legendary on the left, on the right, a desirable legendary, or on the left. So if we combine those chances, actually it turns out to be a 23.6% chance of getting one of the desirable legendaries if you pull during a bonus event. There's a lesser chance of pulling a legendaries, but if you pull a legendary, you pull two, which means you get two shakes of the dice, which means that actually it doesn't look that different. So during a 2x event or a bonus legendary, what are the numbers? They are 1.5% chance of getting a legendary from that list of 14 on a 2x event, and a 1.42% chance of getting a legendary from that list of 14 during a 1x plus bonus event, with a lower chance of getting a legendary. Right, okay, so let's check what happens if you, let's say, instead of 14 desirable, you have 25 desirable, and the numbers, well, the 6 and the 12% remain the same, but you can see the chance of getting something from that list of 25 goes up. It goes up 22.5% for the 2x events, and it goes up to 39.9% for the bonus event. So you're still ahead on the 2x event. Right, for those that are really late game, you may only want 1 or 2 legendaries. Let's make a list of 5 and say I only want one of these 5, right? So basically that's a 4.5% chance out of your 12%, or an 8.8% out of your 6%, which stacks up. So essentially you're slightly ahead on the 2x event and compared with the 1x plus bonus, but still infinitesimal chances. If you pull a sacred shard during a 2x event, you have a 0.54% chance of getting one of the legendaries on that list of 5. And if you pull during a bonus event, it's 1.53%. So basically what that means is it's pretty consistent. The number of legendaries that you have on your desirable list still puts the 2x event slightly ahead. Let's look at the Mercy system. So the other thing that matters is where you are in the Mercy system, and I thoroughly recommend you start tracking your Mercy system. I seriously recommend it, especially for Ancient and Void Shards. And that'll be a different video because they have a Mercy system that really makes a big difference. And if you can predict that, you can make your life a lot richer. Okay, or at least your account a lot richer with better legendaries. So this is the Mercy system. Basically, after the 12th shard, it's 2% per shard until you hit 100%. This graph doesn't go all the way to 100%, and we'll see why later on in the video. So basically, the best way of viewing it is that this erodes your benefit of your 2x over time. So the 2x is applied first and then the Mercy system applied afterwards. So on shard 12, you have double the chance of getting a legendary from during a 2x event compared with a 1x event. But if that moves up to what looks like around about shard 31, you'll have a 50% chance of getting a legendary during a 2x event and a 44% chance during a non-2x event. So before Mercy kicks in, double the chance, and then you can see that the difference between them erodes. And this basically, it's getting close to only 10% difference. So what that means is that let's have a look at what that means. But before we do, one thing to note is, and the reason I'm going to pick relatively low numbers is this is your cumulative chance of getting a legendary over your pulls. So during a 2x event, that's the gold line, and during a 1x or 1x plus bonus event, that is the blue line. And you can see that it climbs pretty quickly. So what that means is that we're going to not pick too close to the end of Mercy, if that makes sense. Because basically, once Mercy kicks in, and you can see that blue line in particular kicks up after around about the 12th shard, what it means is that greater and greater chance means there's much less chance of not pulling a legendary. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the 18th shard. Probably should have put all the numbers in the table at the bottom. That grey area is shaded because basically it's a sign that you'll probably never get there. So it is possible for someone to go, let's say, 36 shards without pulling a legendary, 36 sacreds, but that would be one person in 10,000 or maybe even one person in 100,000. So essentially, by the time you hit your 30th shard, you're pretty much on track for getting a legendary, even though the per shard chance, well, you should have, or you'll be very unlucky even though the per shard chance is well below 100% still at that point. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick the 18th shard and we're going to rerun all those scenarios that we had before. As you can see, instead of a 100% improvement during a 2 times event, it's only a 25% improvement over the bonus, if that makes sense. So your chance of getting a legendary is better, but it's only slightly better. And the best way, because of the way the legendaries work, because your bonus, your 2 times event is basically an improved 6% chance, and your mercy system is 2% per shard, essentially what it means is the 2x event, the best way to view it is the 2x event is essentially 3 shards further down the mercy system. So you're basically, it's like being 3 shards further down the mercy system. Right, let's go and have a look at some scenarios looking at the 18th shard. So the first thing to notice is that 24 and 18% look a lot bigger and a lot healthier, right? And you can see why if you keep pulling shards with those sort of chances, it wouldn't take long before basically luck would pull out and land you a legendary. We still have the 12.6% and the 23.6%, but let's take them out and say what is the percentage of the overall shard pool they are. And as you can see, the erosion of the mercy system, that benefit of the 2x event means that you're ahead with the bonus. So you still have a slightly greater chance of getting a legendary from the 2x event, but because the combination of the legendary, the extra legendary and the increased chance of the mercy system actually puts the bonus shard event ahead. Now that's assuming the 14 champions. If we assume 25 champions, you're still ahead. And if we assume that you're only after those 5 champions, well, yeah, you're still ahead, but yeah, good luck. Okay, so I think I'll have to do a video around the 10x event if you're interested so that we can have a look at what goes on in that space. Right, so let's put this in a chart, and what you can see is that it's pretty consistent. Essentially, either the 2 times event benefit, the 2 times event for the first shard or the first to the 12th shard, presumably, because we're looking at just an individual shard pool, not worrying about a run rate over time. It puts it ahead. And the 18th shard, once that mercy system kicks in, you can see it's pretty consistent that the bonus event puts the shard pools ahead. Right, okay, so let's graph this out so that you can understand. And we're going to use the 25 out of 111 legendaries because that's what I'm interested in. That 25 is actually my list. Go judge me if you want. But basically you can see that it's a very slight improvement up until shard 12. At shard 13 it's basically equal, and from 14 it gets ahead. At shard 18, don't forget that cumulative chance. It's pretty rare that you'd be pulling past shard 8, far past shard 18 without getting legendary. It's possible, it's entirely possible. Each pull, remember, luck owes you nothing, so each pull is its own event, but cumulatively over time, what it means is very few people will go much beyond, let's say, that 18th or the 20th shard without pulling a legendary, either during a 1x or a bonus legendary or a 2x event. Right, so the other thing to look at is the cumulative chance for a legendary. So remember, you just keep flipping the dice, you keep flipping the dice. Your number gets higher and higher and closer to 100%. Even with low chances, you still climb there. It just takes a longer time. And you can see the mercy system kicking in. But even at 12 shards before the mercy system kicks in, your cumulative chance at your first shard is basically double. So you've got double the chance during a 2 times event, 12% of pulling any legendary, and you've got a 6% chance of pulling any legendary with your bonus legendary during the bonus event. But cumulatively over time, the graph rises so that you can see at the 12th shard, even before mercy kicks in, it's 52% for a 1x event and 78% for a 2x event. Now what's worth noticing here is that this is not double. So your chance of pulling during a 2x event is no longer double cumulatively over time than a bonus legendary at a 6% chance. That's just the way statistics work. Now, don't forget, it doesn't mean that you're owed, because unless Mercy is operating, all that happens is that you will be facing every shard is its own pool. Does that make sense? But if you were to basically say, have 100 people and say, right, we're all going to pull 12 shards, and some of them pull during a 1x and some of them pull during a 2x, this is the number of people that would roughly end up with the legendary. So let's put it all together. So what we'll do is cumulatively over time. So basically what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to pull X number of shards. And then you look at the likelihood of a desirable bonus legendary. Now we're using the 25, not the 14 or the 5. Because it's a bigger number and it's just easier to read on the graph and it shows a bit more separation. And we're going to look at that in about the 5th shard. What actually happens is the numbers pretty much converge. So up until then, there's a slight ahead for the 2x events. But if you basically say, I'm going to pull 5 shards, just the way the laws of probability work is that, and remember, luck owes you nothing, so it's not like you're going to end up there. It just means if we had a large number of people all doing the same thing, what would happen is you'd find by the 5th shard, you'd have pretty much equal in both groups getting one of those 25 legendaries. And beyond that point, of course, especially, and you can see after the 12th shard, once Mercy kicks in, the 2 times the bonus event starts to kick well ahead. And that's because that extra legendary, that extra roll of the dice makes a huge difference. So where do we end up? Is it better to pull Sacred Shards during a bonus legendary or 2 times event? The answer is it depends. So during a 2 times event, if you're pulling 5 or less shards, you have a better chance of getting a desirable legendary, very slightly, than during a bonus. If you're after a legendary for points, then you pull during a 2 times event. So basically, you're after anything, you don't care what it is, I want the points, you pull during a 2 times event because you have a greater chance of getting a legendary. But if you care what that legendary is, and you're definitely pulling 10 or more shards, then you'd be better off with the 1x plus bonus event. Between 5 and 10 shards, the chances are so, they're pretty close. There might be a slight advantage to the 1x plus bonus, but I know that, human nature, the way it is, people would like the chance of getting any legendary rather than just those slim chances. So take your choice between 5 and 10, but beyond 10, as you could see from the graph, it is better to pull during the bonus legendary event. So what did this mean for me? Now, did I pull during the bonus event? Because I was trying to work out what I should do. And the answer is no. And why? Well, basically, that's the reason why. There was nothing else going on. So there's a whole lot more to it than just, it's quite a complex topic when to pull shards. And yeah, okay then. So there was nothing else going on. And as you can see from that bottom row, and the second bottom row, 4 legendary books, 2 chickens, a feast and a barrel, and an epic book are absolutely worth, yeah. I saw the loss of those compared with the improved chance of getting the legendary that I wanted, because remember, I could pull and not get a legendary. I decided that I would wait for the 2 times and see if that coincides with a summon rush. If it doesn't, well, more bad luck to me, but then I'm slightly worse off, but with 15 shards, not significantly so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching that. If you like watching, leave a comment, especially about what to cover next, because all I've done in this video is look at it from the point of view of saying, what should I do now? With the current shard, my current mercy counter, which I hope you start counting. But some of the other topics I could cover are, what is a long-term strategy? should you always pull during one event or another event? What is the effect of the 10x events? And I've been doing a whole lot of analysis, and the 10x events are actually an interesting impact. Or should I look at voids and ancients? And voids and ancient mercy system is a little bit insane. And if you're not counting voids and ancients, you are really missing out on an opportunity to control what comes into your account. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you leave a comment, maybe I'll put up another video, and then we'll catch you next time.